Welcome back. I'm Alfred Weber, and today we're with a distinguished and special guest who's been with us on the program a number of times in various circumstances, and he's called back in and asked to be back again. He's a young gentleman who's been back before, who is a self-described UFO contactee here in the Vancouver BC area. And just to be absolutely clear, there's some open question as to whether it's a UFO contactee, that is from our perspective, UFO contactee or MILAB's military abduction that is a human UFO interface, or exactly what the phenomenon is. So welcome again.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me back. When you say that UFO contactee, I think that's not quite exactly what it is. I mean, we went over that before. I'm a TI and a UFO, a victim of alien ET assaults and bedroom intrusions, and also the electromagnetic microwave attacks that we talked about before. It's more like that. So,
right. Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of a spectrum. And so we wanted to be absolutely clear. Now, we have you've wanted to maintain anonymity, and that's fine. So we had given you the name George. Now, George is also an acronym that we use to define kind of the commander of one of the intergalactic fleets. And that's not to confuse the two. In fact, we made inquiries through our contacts to the intergalactic fleets, and he says it has nothing to do with them. These phenomena that are happening to you. So we wanted to rest assured we did contacts in that regard.
Right. Yeah, I know about Ray Kostelandich, and I've listened to some of the interviews there. But like what I had said to you before, I personally believe that those the contacts that he has deliberately had him use that alias, deliberately had him use the name George as his contact to deliberately sabotage the interviews that I had done with you using the name George, because the ones that I had done with you had obviously were very damning interviews as it pertains to the agenda of these ETs and what they are truly doing. And what his contacts would have people believe is that they are involved in the upliftment of the planet, and the upliftment of the planet to what they would call the fourth and fifth dimension through positive and benevolent means, when in fact what is happening is that these ETs, I know you already know, have set up a enormous electromagnetic scalar wave grid all around the planet, which involves the brainwashing of people all over the planet, as well as the torture of people all over the planet. And this is what these ETs are doing to a lot of these targeted individuals. And what is actually happening is that it is not, in fact, obviously a benevolent agenda, because what these ETs do is they, with these scalar wave electromagnetic attacks on TIs, it works on the collagen, which is the substance that binds the skin together in the human body. And we are literally used as cattle. And what they do is they use a combination of voice to spell attacks, which range from nonsense to very specific. So the victim will begin to hear either very specific vocalizations in their mind, or they'll hear what appears to be nonsense. And this will happen in conjunction with scalar wave attacks that cause severe pain all over the body, burning attacks. And they use this to cause suffering. And what happens is when one suffers, the result is gratitude. So what these ETs are actually doing is they are torturing the human soul, and this is what would you call a Christ consciousness. So the result would be a Christ consciousness being, and this is actually what they truly mean by the fifth dimension. So the process actually involves torture and suffering. And this is what they mean when they, in quotation marks, when they are claiming that they are, involved in the upliftment of the planet, which is an outright lie. What their purpose of their whole purpose, and what their purpose has always been, has been to use the ET. There has been to use, not the ET. Their purpose has always been to use the human race as a energy farm and as a genetic resource farm for thousands of years. And when they say, "Oh, this is a benevolent process," it is not a benevolent process. The end result, what they mean by the fifth dimension, the end result is that at some point, when the human soul has suffered enough, what they mean by the fifth dimension is that one actually dies. And that soul that has suffered lifetime after lifetime after lifetime has reached a state of Christ consciousness where the soul can now be, or what they do is the person is to reach the fifth dimension is actually a state of death. And the soul is taken from the body and put in what they would refer to as, there's a dozen different names or more for these places. We'll call them Agartha, Valhalla, the crystal cities in the earth. But the person is not alive when this happens. So what is actually happening is a silent Holocaust. And a lot of these TIs are taking their own lives as a result of these attacks. So that particular contactee, Ray Kosolandich, has been totally lied to. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now you've said a lot of things that, in my judgment, are unsubstantiated and just your opinion, and in fact go against the evidence and go against things that you have said before. And I don't know what to do now, but my evaluation of the data that you've presented to date, including the data that you've presented today, is as follows: that you're being targeted by some combination of manipulatory or negative ETs that are in some way in league with a human transhumanist agenda, be it the CIA, NSA, that are using electromagnetic weapons and either spoofing or mimicking an interdimensional extraterrestrial race, and have gotten on the program today again for the purpose of maligning the positive, non-manipulatory extraterrestrial species. I thought that we had gotten much farther along in dealing with you because over the course of years, I took your data to numerous independent observers, including Dr. Rowney Kilda, who actually was assassinated by the exact same perpetrators who are after you. And she's cognizant of the extraterrestrial data. She was cognizant of the life after death data. And she was able to make distinctions. And in her professional, no, let me finish, because I think that you need to hear this. Because I think that this is the last time that we're going to entertain your interviews, because they seem to be repetitive. And now you seem to be attacking what from the evidence are multiple witnesses, and both contactee Ray Koselandich and contactee Dr. Sam Muggsy, who are in contact with a upper dimensional ethical extraterrestrial faction representing the humans, the Andromeda, the Alpha Centauri, and the Syrians, who are coming here and trying to liberate humanity from this consortium of matrix humans, hidden controllers, and negative ETs. So nothing that you have said has added anything different. In fact, you seem to have gotten more negative and more sort of a carrier of the disinformation of the negative ETs. Now, in our conversations offline, that is off the air, some of the suggestions that I had given you was to try and interact with these negative ETs in terms of spirituality, and you had indicated that is what you were going to talk about today. But I really don't want to go forward with the kind of disinformation that you're putting out. That's just not something that I'm willing to do at this time.
Yeah, right. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Are we still on the recording?
We are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry that you feel that you think that this is disinformation. But as I said before,
I think that you're reporting your experiences, but you're entirely wrapped up in the negative, and you're starting to paint the positive ETs as negatively. And we spent the last 2 years bringing in experts like Dr. Rowney Kilda, and now you're just caught up in this negative cycle. And I'm not going to carry this further. Dr. Rowney Kilda has been killed by the people that are out torturing you. If that doesn't wake you up, there's nothing that I can do.
Okay. So you prefer not to continue?
No, I thought you're going exactly against what our conversations were prior to this phone call.
Right. Well, what I'm getting at with the, I'm going to go over that very briefly, because I can tell you want to cover some other areas. As far as these attacks on TIs go, if the NSA, I mean, it's entirely possible that the NSA is using ET technology, as we talked before about, and but if the NSA had access to this technology, they wouldn't have been, if we just use common sense, they wouldn't have been tapping the phone of that German chancellor or high-profile people, because these technologies are so advanced, it is just unbelievable. And they can take data extraction right from a person's mind, and that's it. I mean, they can take it right out of a person's mind. So that
is current state of the art. That is current state of the art of the transhumanist agenda. Right.
So, and if you take it even further than that, if the NSA
it's not ET. It's not the ETs who are taking it out of your mind. It is the infrastructure of the surveillance. It's the transhumanist agenda, and they're just spoofing you to think it's negative ETs.
Well, this is, okay, fair enough, but this is why I believe this is ET technology, and this is nothing new either, because if you look, like we talked about this before, and I'm going to go over it real quick, because I have some other things I want to discuss with you. Okay. If you look quickly at the past, if you look at the Gnostic material, the Nag Hammadi, and these Archon attacks have been going on for thousands of years. Okay. They've been doing the same old garbage over and over again. They use a person's own specific fears against them. And they, in the Nag Hammadi, and according to the Gnostic material, the result is almost always a violent or strange conclusion. And a lot of these TIs have different opinions about who is attacking them that range from bizarre to what would seem very logical, like the NSA. But then, while some think it's the NSA, others think that the police are after them. Some people think it's the RCMP. Some people think it's the military. Some people think it's their neighbors. Some people think it's people at work. Some people think it's a band. Like, there is a particular individual who, a particular woman in particular, I'm not going to say her name, but she thinks that there is a famous band that is attacking her with the most high-tech technology you could possibly imagine. And this woman has her own talk show. So these are very intelligent, bright people, and they all have their own theory about who's attacking. Some believe that it's a consortium of Hollywood actors that are attacking them. That actor Randy Quaid thinks that in quotation marks, he thinks star whackers are after him, and he's a TI as well. So they all have their own opinion.
Yeah,
but
look,
these people a lot of these people are respected, intelligent people, and they have, what they believe is just bizarre.
So what you're trying to do is to say that what you're feeling, and that the entire kind of negative COINTELPRO is being run by manipulatory ETs. And that's one option. The other and more plausible option from the evidence is that it's a negative dimensional ecology involving manipulatory ETs in league with a whole negative matrix involving intelligence agencies, hidden controllers, monarchies, police agencies, New World Order, etc., that are in league to land a particular order on Earth, and that there is also a positive ET dimensional ecology. And what I find objectionable is that you're trying to bring in a whole series of galactic interdimensional actors that are of the positive ETs and bring them into the negative. And without any substantiating evidence, and that you've been doing it for 2 years in when I've brought, TI after TI after TI who says, yeah, the guy just won't acknowledge that he's being targeted by the matrix, by the government. He just doesn't get it, that he's being spoofed by the government, and he's just looking around and blaming all the ETs. And we've been at this for 2 years, and it's the end of the line. I can't spend this much more time of negative airtime with you. We're not going to broadcast, we're not going to vilify extraterrestrial races with your negativity anymore.
Fair enough. But the reason that I say that it is that is simply because of this. What the outcome of this is going to be, literally, and I'm sorry that you think that this is negative, because in my opinion, that the truth is always positive, in my opinion.
Okay.
But what will happen is that this could very well result in a civil war between different groups and different people if and when these ETs surface here, because they are going to come forward with a rationale for what they have done to the human race. And some people will accept it, and other people who have suffered because of these ET abductions, which have been absolutely vicious and ruthless, and other people who have suffered because of these scalar wave attacks and these archon attacks, they will not accept the reasoning and rationale for what has happened. And what these ETs are going to present, they're going to present their own ET paradigms and philosophies, and they're going to claim that the human race, the human soul, has to be tested lifetime after lifetime after lifetime to reach a certain state of enlightenment, to reach Christ consciousness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and that all of this suffering was necessary. And some people are going to accept that, and they may say, well, this is positive. This is wonderful.
Well, then
so it's a matter of perception, whereas others, like myself, who have either suffered themselves or lost people they care about, loved ones who have suffered as a result, are not going to accept it. They'll be absolutely furious.
Well,
so
then,
I guess it's a matter of perspective.
I think so, and so that's why we've been trying to bring the issue of the false flag ET operation that the Vatican seems to be engaged in to public consciousness, but we're not trying to project onto the ETs. That is where we're identifying bad actors in the ETs, bad actors in the human community, ranging from the Vatican to the Bauer family, to the bankers, all the bankers in there, the ancient vampires, the giants, the coneheads, all the super military who just want to scorch the planet. I mean, they have no concern for our planet. Those are all bad actors. So and they're and they want to robotize humans. That's the transhumanist agenda. So
well, I think what's happening is that these ETs, these manipulatory ETs, they would call it utilizing, of course, in a sort of smug and sadistic way, but they are mind controlling people in a position of power who have very weak and what you would call evil souls, and they are using these people as puppets to achieve their ends. And I mean, this is nothing new. You know about this already.
Yeah.
But again, it would go back to common sense would say there's a pecking order, and if these ETs are in control, and they would be because they'd be at the top of the pecking order, then we would have a lot less these people with these evil souls, who are all about lower ego, would have less free will, and these ETs know very well how to control people. So again, I would say that if you just defer to common sense, it would appear, and it is the case, that these ETs are in control and they are manipulating all of the entire chessboard, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I reject your view. I think that we're in a position where there's intervention now of upper dimensional ethical ETs. There's intervention of the intelligent community, the intelligent civilization of souls, and there's a whole positive. There's the intervention of the positive timeline, and that you're projecting from your negative experience sort of blanket negativity, which isn't, I think, helpful. And so I don't see that this has social utility and is helping people. In fact,
it sounds negative, but in my opinion, like I said, to me the truth is positive. And like I said, it's going to be a matter of perspective. There are people, and I'm sorry to say, it'll be mostly intellectual types that will most likely, unfortunately, academia, et cetera, they will most likely be the ones, in my opinion, who will be persuaded by these ET factions into believing that the suffering of the human soul, to the extent that has occurred, was necessary, when in fact it's not necessary, and this has already been outlined by one specific ET group. But ultimately, none of these ETs actually stepped in here and put a stop to it completely. And this has been going on for thousands of years. It's in like I said, the Nag Hammadi, the Gnostics talked about these ET archons. They use the same scalar wave electromagnetic weapons to cause a variety of disturbances, like I said, pain in the body, voice to skull attacks. And what the Gnostics said about them is that these ET archons were responsible for all disturbances of the mind. So they came in here and they feed off of what they call louche energy. Yeah. And this has never been stopped. And this is because the planet was deliberately set up as an energy and genetic resource farm. And it was purposely done so. So, so this is, again, I defer to what I just said. This is going to cause a split in the human race at some point in the future. And it'll be unfortunately, it'll be very violent, because there are people who just aren't going to put up with that kind of thinking that we could be used as lab rats and guinea pigs for thousands of years. It's just not acceptable. And other people are going to say,
I think I think that you're projecting in a very primitive and a very in a very primitive way. I mean, this thing is being resolved now, but there have been huge structural changes in our universe with the shift in the holographic timeline on December 21st, 2012. So that the whole catastrophic timeline that the archonic matrix have been planning on has been, avoided and obviated. And in a way, there's been a great cosmic surprise by the universe administration, by the divine order. And so that's been, I've written a 27-page paper on it. I've sent it to you. You've had it for months, and it's just like coming up against a broken record. So there's nothing I can do about that.
Well, I know.
It's just evidence-filled. It's just evidence-filled. and I'm just not going to break my head against it going over and over and over.
Fair
and
enough.
You're saying that, no, the sky's going to fall tomorrow. Everybody's going to go up in arms. We're going to have civil war on the planet. Brother's going to rise against brother.
It'll be gradual.
Look. If the second coming, we're going to be brother's going to rise against brother, which is what the old catastrophic timeline were set out in the prophecies, then that would be the case. But there's been an intervention. There's been a divine intervention so that we don't have that. We have an awakening. And I guess that the awakening hasn't reached you yet.
Right. Well, to a certain extent, I agree with you. But to think that the animosity and the resentment that will be present as a result of this knowledge, to think that that will be entirely mitigated by the efforts of, whichever groups in particular people want to believe are helping, and just in my personal opinion, is kind of naive. Because
what if look, you just continue to project. What if the scientific formula says positive future equals positive timeline plus unity consciousness and duality consciousness of I win, you lose, of that old 20th century, wait, of that old 20th century consciousness? Well, we're going to rise up. You can't get any traction. It doesn't matter how upset you are. You either come to terms with the fact that duality consciousness is over with, or whatever.
Well, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is why I'm saying I agree with you to a certain extent. I kind of meet you halfway, because it'll be both. There will be people who will accept the fact that we have been used this way for thousands of years, and they will accept the ET rationale and the ET party line for why this was done to us. And there will be people who violently reject it, because that's just, it's not just a matter of science, it's a matter of spirit. And the spirit of these people, and in particular myself, are going to reject that, because a lot of these people have lost loved ones as a result of these attacks, or they have suffered themselves. So when it's like that, it's very hard to rationalize anything. And I would take it even further. If and when this happens, if somebody claims, well, this is okay, this is in the name of this is a process. We are souls that need to be educated, et cetera, and this process is like, we're like coal, and the pressure that these ETs apply results in the creation of a diamond, which they would refer to as the fifth dimension or a crystal body. I mean, that all sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say whatever you want, but if that person personally lost a loved one as a result of these attacks, would they be so quick to be so accepting?
I don't know, Bill. I don't know what sign you are, Bill. I'm a 5-planet Gemini. We forgive easily. We don't carry resentments, which is resending energy to the past. We don't carry resentments into the future. It sounds like you've got resentments, like you hang on to shit, Some of us don't. Some of us don't, because scientifically it's stupid to carry stuff.
Fair enough.
And so I personally have dealt with your stuff now for 2 years. We're beyond it. I don't see new analysis coming out.
Here's I'm going to change the. I don't want to keep broken. I don't want to appear as a broken record with you for the remainder of the interview. So what I have been doing to help deal with what has been happening to me is I've been talking to my pastor.
Good. Yeah. I have
found relief by praying to Jesus Christ, and I have been doing that for quite some time, and that has provided some relief, and these ETs they can't cope with that. So I have been using that, and that has offered some relief. So I have gone to the church, and I found out that other TIs have done the same thing, and they have also found some limited relief in some cases by praying to Christ Jesus, and maybe even eliminating it altogether in some cases.
Yeah, and what is the philosophy of the Christ? Love others as you still love yourself. Love your enemies. So it doesn't say carry your resentments.
Fair enough. But the problem with that thinking is that, like I said, I've talked to a pastor, I've talked to them online, is that if you're not a Catholic, these ETs represent they're a demonic presence.
You don't have to be a Catholic. In fact, you just have to be oriented to spirit.
Right. Well, I'm Christian Anglican.
But I would say, why not have led with the interview where we agreed, where you said, gee, I've started coming at this in a new way from the point of view of cosmic love, and I'm getting some relief. Because if you're coming at this from the point of view of cosmic resentment for the hurt that you've gotten in the abductions, from what I judge to be at least 50% human and 50% ET, you're just going to be stuck in your hurt. You're not going to get.
Well, exactly. But the problem is that these ETs will want an intellectual reaction, not an emotional reaction. And unfortunately, soul energy is orientated towards the emotional reaction. So these ETs have pummeled people with strong souls. I mean, these people with soul energy have been targeted and absolutely pummeled. So it'll be very difficult for people who are still alive with strong soul energy to not have that emotional response, which will be unfortunately negative. But I hear what you're saying.
In my research, most of the targeting and pummeling has been done by human agencies and not by ET agencies. Because the ETs farm it out. The ETs, that was the whole point of the treaties, is that they contracted out to the COINTELPRO. They have the humans. They have the humans with weak souls become COINTELPRO, and they're the ones that torture the other humans.
Yeah, right. But then if we just look at it in terms of 100 years, it's kind of a very small window of time. These ETs have been attacking people all over the world for thousands of years, and they have never required any kind of treaty. They just do what they want to do. And this has been going, like I said, this is so old. I mean, it goes way, way back to Sumeria.
This is the closing chapters of the Lucifer Rebellion, which is 1,000,000 years long. So we're coming to the close of it now, to the ending of it. So it's been going on for 1,000,000 years, so we're coming to the end of it. So things are actually getting better.
Well, I just, with the time that we have left in the interview, I just wanted to go over a few things. Like I said, I pray to Christ, to Jesus Christ. I'm Anglican, Christian Anglican, and what I believe is going to happen is that these ETs, who I personally believe represent a demonic presence, they're going to attempt, as you already know, to infiltrate and manipulate the Catholic Church. They will attempt to manipulate the Catholic Church, and this is already happening. The Pope has already been, as you already know, you've discussed this in your interviews and your articles that you have written. They are the Pope has been explicitly said that he would baptize ETs, that they're very open to that possibility. So the Catholic Church is prepped and primed for some kind of interaction and acceptance of these ETs, whereas whereas Christian groups, in particular, like myself, Anglican, they are not going to be as in a lot of cases.
Yeah. And so that's exactly why we have been warning against the Yom Kippur, September 23rd to 28th, 2015, false flag by Pope Francis Bergoglio, who's known in the book of Revelation as the whore of Babylon, because he's pulling the wool over the eyes of the planet. And from 2015 to 2016, he's going to be doing a false flag on the planet. And that's what we're warning people against. So I think you and I are on the same page. We just have differences as to what's what. You know, you don't say that everybody's the enemy. You identify who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. You know?
Right. And like I said before, one of the strategies these ETs will have for, in an attempt that they, strategies they will use in an attempt to manipulate people is a lot of these groups are going to come in here and claim that they have, that we are star seeds and that we all come from some other place and that, we have cosmic family and that we are related to, our souls are related to them in some way, shape, or form. And they have done this to me. And I mean, I talked to you about the specific ET group that, these archons have claimed that I am related to. They talked about, when they have attacked me, they have claimed that I'm an Andromedan soul type. And I don't believe that at all. I think they have used that in an attempt to manipulate me because their strategy is to basically, as you already know, the first half of all of this is suffering. And then the latter half of it, the first half will be suffering and manipulation. And then the latter half will have these more very sort of pacifist wolf in sheep's clothing type groups showing, like Andromedan groups, who will show up at some point and they will say that, in fact, that these ETs are not here for benefit, that they are, that the use of all of this technology is a Trojan horse, and that leads the soul astray, et cetera, et cetera. But this is just done to manipulate people. And what I truly believe is that we're not really star seeds, and we don't really come from some other place. It's just that different people have different types of souls. Some people are just unfortunately have a more have a negative vibration, and their souls are just, for lack of a better word, are just evil.
Okay, now you're entitled to your views.
Yeah.
You're entitled to your views.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't agree with your views. I believe that the exopolitical evidence and what we discovered mapping the omniverse goes against a lot what you just said. And my various books document that, and so does a lot of the data in the exopolitical community. And it may be, I believe, that you've been programmed to come on here and say a lot of stuff that is very, very negative about ETs. We've come up to the 45-minute mark. I want to thank you. And we've given you a platform. I still think that you've been traumatized to come on to our program to give negative reports. And I'll continue to say that, and that your tormentors are probably a conscious gang of human MILABs people with some manipulatory ETs thrown in there. But thank you very, very much. You're obviously a sincere soul, and I know that your soul is on the right path, and we want to thank you for contacting us.
Great. Thank you so much.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.